For HalloWeFit Momentum, because yes, this year we have 2 different workouts for strength versus momentum so that we can stick to that 45-minute and then 60-minute for both. We're going to start with supersets on the 130, and they only do 2 rounds through here. So the first superset is going to be a sumo deadlift and a jack-o'-lantern squat jack. Okay, so for your sumo deadlift, all the same principles for a standard deadlift apply. You're just taking those feet a little bit wider. And most people with sumo can go a little bit heavier. So don't be afraid to have them grab a heavier weight. So typical deadlift or conventional if you're used to powerlifting, feet are stacked under the hips or can even be more narrow. We don't go this narrow with kettlebells because the kettlebell needs to go somewhere. But conventional, most commonly seen. Sumo just needs to be outside of hips. So this is a quite narrow sumo stance, but they can also go wider. The further the width of the legs, the more of a toe turnout should increase, okay? Now, from the side, it is gonna look a little squattier, but I'm still leading with my hips back. And then if I'm not at the bell, that's when the knees bend a little bit more. So I'm still in a hinge because my hips are moving more than my knees, and my back is flat, but my trunk's forward, right? So this would be a squat. This is my sumo deadlift. I'm still driving those elbow pits forward. Big inhale. Exhale, stand tall. Push those hips back as they tap the ground. Coming here, okay? For anybody that has a hard time with range, with the more conventional or the typical traditional style of doing a deadlift, the sumo might work out better for them because it is bringing them closer to the ground, which is why most people can tend to go heavier with a sumo. So they will have sumo deadlifts, 5 to 7 of those, and then the squat jack is basically a goblet hold, so you're not using your arms, but you are still jumping with the legs. So, kettlebell clean, you're jumping out, squat down, jump in, squat down. Okay, that is your jack-o'-lantern squat jack. 5 to 7, whatever time they have left in that 130 is rest. Second grouping of exercises for your superset. We have a pumpkin smasher, which is just a kettlebell rainbow, and we have a pumpkin row, which is a 2-handed single goblet row. So for your rainbow, you will have them bring that bell into the goblet position. Feet are going to be planted under hips. They're going from one hip to the other hip. Okay? If people want to find more of a challenge for this, you can have them stagger. So my back foot is on a toe, and you're going to do your rainbow here, 2 to 3, and then switch. You can also go single leg rainbow if you want to add a little bit more of that single leg stability. 2 to 3 each side. Total reps should be somewhere between 5 to 7. And then your pumpkin row, you're going to bring that kettlebell into that goblet position, hinging those hips back so back stays nice and flat. And this is where that row is going to happen. So we're holding the body of the kettlebell, which is why it's called a pumpkin row. So the hands are around the bell itself, making sure that they're not rounding those shoulders, right? So keep those shoulders packed. You're rowing kind of towards the belly button or the lower part of the rib cage. For our second work set of our HalloWeFit Momentum, it's going to be similar to day A momentum, but we're just doing 2 stations instead of 4. So station 1 is going to be power. So we're still doing 45 seconds on, 20 seconds off. They have 1 minute and 30 between the 2 stations to rotate. So for power, we're doing a single arm devil's press, which is basically a single dumbbell with a burpee. Fun. And an iso lunge zombie chop. We got a lot of zombies in our HalloWeFit this year. I guess that's on me, but it's fun. Single arm devil's press. Okay, so basically what'll happen is they're gonna take that dumbbell from the floor, take it all the way up, take it down, jump out, switch sides, take it up, take it down, do your burpee. Take it up, take it down, switch sides, okay? I will say this, that if you have any members in your class that have done CrossFit or are proficient in CrossFit, You may see them switch hands with the dumbbell on the way down. As long as they are actually safe with it, you don't have to have them stop, but it's not an option I'm going to offer in my class. Okay, so make sure that they are taking the dumbbell from the ground all the way up, back down, then they switch. You're gonna have 8, so it's 4 each side. Your iso lunge zombie chop is basically a hold in your lunge, so isometric lunge, and then we're doing wood choppers, but elbows are straight because it's a zombie. So they're gonna want a lighter kettlebell or dumbbell. Oops. So if it's a dumbbell, they're gonna hold end to end. If they're doing the kettlebell, which I'll show you in a second, I tend to have them flip it over. Okay, so if we're doing our iso lunge, I like to come from open hip up and then back down. Open hip to shoulder, back down. If you're using a kettlebell, I have them grab it upside down because it's gonna be here to here, here to here. With the kettlebell, if they need to bend the elbows, make it not a zombie, that's okay. Kettlebell, they're probably gonna need to go lighter than they would with the dumbbell. For balance and body weight, we have a jackknife sit-up. You can also, if you've done HalloWeFit Strength, if you want to use an option of the coffin sit-up, you can do that as well. And then we're going to have a Frankenstein press out. Frankenstein's technically a zombie, right? So it's a zombie. So many zombies. So for your jackknife sit-up, it's technically here. It's basically like a pike. It's here. Oh wow, that was really bad. I'm so sorry. One day I should put all my bloopers together. So that's your jackknife. They can also go one leg at a time. Or if you want to use a version of the coffin sit-up, you can go one leg and have them come tall. Okay. If you are doing the one leg up coffin sit-up, make sure that you're alternating sides. So at the halfway point, they would switch the leg, okay? For your Frankenstein press out, it is just a Palloff press. So you're gonna anchor your band. They're gonna stand at a 90-degree angle from the band. They can start with flat feet. It's right at the center of my chest, and I'm pushing straight out. So I'm here, making sure I have enough tension that I feel like I have to fight that rotation, right? Because we don't want it to pull them back towards the anchor point. If this is too easy, have them step a little bit further, or you can have them go single leg stance, pressing out from there, okay? The leg that's closest to the anchor point, so the inner leg is gonna be easier than the outer leg, so you can play around with that, but there's 3 levels of challenge with that Frankenstein press out. For the finisher, they have a 15-minute AMRAP, and we are going to have 5 different exercises for them. So there's a spider crawl, which is kind of similar to a bear, except the knees are coming wider. It's called a spider crawl. I do not have 8 legs, but here we are. So we're in a plank. You're coming here, coming here. Okay. Feels like that should be more of a bear, but whatever. If you don't have enough space to have them crawl, you can just do sort of a spider step out and come side to side, keeping those knees wide. That might be a little bit easier for some folks to coordinate because the spider crawl itself feels a little wonky. 5 and 5 each side. From there, we're gonna go to a bug stomper, which is basically just fast feet. If you want to pull out a ladder, you can make this traveling, or you can have them travel in place. You can also put a small loop band around the feet. So basically you're going out, out, in. Okay, so if they're traveling, they're chasing those bugs along the floor, or they're going in and out, up and down that ladder. 5 each side, so out, out, in is 1. So it's 5 total. I don't know why I have 5 and 5. Count to 10. It's fine. 5 each side. So you go out, out, in. Yeah, it's gonna be 5 total. Too many bloopers on this one. Zombie walk or run. So for the zombie walk, knees are nice and straight. It really should be mummy, huh? Mummies are all stiff. So that's your mummy walk, zombie walk. And then they can try to go faster. So that feels a little bit more like a can girl, but you know, they're not gonna ask too many questions. So zombie walk or run. They're gonna do that for about 10 total or 5 each side. And then we have a goblin squat, which is just a goblet squat, right? It's just wordplay. So you're gonna find a bell. Because this is one of the few sort of weighted exercises in this block, I would try to push your members to go a little bit heavier. It does say 10 reps, but if you can get them to go heavier, you can let them drop the reps a little bit. So we are coming over our kettlebell, 2-hand clean, big inhale, hold that breath through the bottom, exhale, stand tall. If they want an extra challenge, again, going heavier, or you can do a little pulse, or you could go halfway lift, back down, stand tall. The last piece here, my computer is going dark, is gonna be a skull crusher. Skull crusher, a couple different options. You can have them do it in standing, or you can lay them down on the ground. Sorry about that. So for your skull crusher, I prefer to have people hold end to end because it gives it a more appropriate space in the shoulder. So if you're standing overhead, this is gonna be that skull crusher over top. You can have them hold here. I'm not gonna correct people that hold this way because it's not unsafe, but because you're bringing your hands in, you're just a little tighter in the shoulder. So ideally they're going hand to hand. Skull crusher laying down, feet are planted, arms are straight up, and you are only bending at the elbow. So notice my upper arm is not drifting as I take the dumbbell down, right? So I'm locking in my upper arm, elbows bend, back up. You can challenge the core a little bit more by bringing the feet up. So offer people that option as they would like. And then that is the end of our HalloWeFit Momentum. There is a prize for costumes. So if people are wearing costumes, take a picture. Also, if you have a costume, wear it. Ray was a whole world last year, so you can, I'm gonna be a banana, be a fruit.